Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. The American legal system is becoming feminized, but in a toxic way, not in a maternal or caring way. Instead, it's the creed of the radical second wave feminists which is taking over. The idea that laws only need to be followed when they're agreed with, but if you're a female judge or lawyer, you should use the system to undermine or not enforce what you find inequitable about the law. Remember when we talked about that feminist book by Dahlia Lithwick, which explained exactly that from a powerful woman in law? Well, here it is coming to fruition again with Robin Europe, a former manager of personal trainers at the upscale gym Equinox, who was recently awarded $11.25 million by a New York jury after she sued her former employer for racial and sexual discrimination. According to the New York Times, Europe was represented by an all-female legal team employed by Crum Miller, a feminist litigation firm based in Brooklyn. This team convinced the jury, made up of 5 women and 3 men, that Equinox fired their client due to her race and gender, although the gym maintains it was because Europe showed up late to work 47 times in just 10 months. Do I get $11 million for showing up late? Europe doesn't dispute this, but her lawyers argued her tardiness was just a pretense for firing her, while the real reason was about her race. Of course, if this is what passes in a court of law, then we're not going to have a legitimate legal system for much longer, if we still have one at all, that is. From innocent until proven guilty to guilty until proven innocent, or the court of public opinion taking precedence and setting the tone for the actual court of law and justice. That's what we have now. The system used against itself for the benefit of friends of the regime and manipulated against enemies of the regime. That's anarcho-tyranny, and it brings us to a Lululemon store in Georgia that fired 2 of its employees for trying to stop a group of 4 men wearing black clothing and masks who were shoplifting $7,000 worth of store merchandise during a robbery. According to the company's handbook, employees are supposed to call 911 in case of emergency or theft. However, employees are also instructed to not interfere with ongoing crimes for safety reasons. As you'd imagine, these staffers did get involved despite what the employee handbook says. The fight or flight instinct kicked in, especially since the same group has tried to rob the same store multiple times. The employees have since expressed frustration about being terminated, to put it lightly, as have other stores in the area which have also been robbed. Ironically, these criminals were caught the day after they robbed this Lululemon store as they were trying to rob another Lululemon store nearby. Again, friends of the regime versus enemies of the regime, anarcho-tyranny. Criminals are integral to the left's foundational mythos of being the underdogs, fighting a corrupt system, and they also use the destabilization brought about by crime to rebuild society and their own image, the left's own image. And so, like the New York gym trainer from above, they get special perks and privileges that the rest of society doesn't. With all this crime, no wonder the last few years have seen record gun sales in states like Florida, making it easier for citizens to arm themselves in public. But now California Governor Gavin Newsom is blaming Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the constitutional carry bill he passed in April for a shooting that happened yesterday along a crowded beachside promenade in Hollywood, Florida, where 9 people were injured, including minors. In a tweet he posted yesterday, instead of investigating what happened, Newsom immediately blamed the bill, which actually doesn't take effect until July 1st, and which does uphold the background check requirement for purchasing a firearm, contrary to what Newsom alleges. Individuals who carry without a permit must also carry a government-issued ID, which law enforcement can ask to see at any time. But Newsom doesn't seem to be interested in the facts. His own state of California has had several high-profile mass shootings this year alone, resulting in dozens being killed, despite all the inane gun restrictions his state imposes. Join us now to discuss with Stephen Williford, a spokesman for Gun Owners of America. Stephen, thanks for being back tonight.
It's great to be here on Tipping Point.
Great. So is it nakedly obvious at this point to everyone that gun control laws are not about saving lives, but are about de-arming patriots like yourself and allowing them to be outgunned by criminals who are left to run the streets at this point?
Absolutely. And criminals don't follow gun laws anyway. And that's the definition of a criminal, is they are not worried about your laws. The difference is these laws affect law-abiding citizens, because law-abiding citizens strive to, as best they can, to adhere to the laws. So these laws are made to be enforced against us and not the criminal element. They're going to get a gun anyway.